Hi, my name is Becky Baker and I am a teaching artist with Artists Creating Together. And for today's Stay Home, Stay Creative video, I'm going to show you how you can set up and draw a still life right at home. A still life is an arrangement of objects that artists use to look at to draw or paint a picture. So for today's project, we're going to need a few supplies. And for your still life arrangement, you can use pretty much anything you can find at home. If you are new to drawing, I would suggest starting with some things that are pretty simple shape to draw. So for my still life, I found a few things in the kitchen. I'm going to use a couple of pears, an apple, a bowl, a bottle. This is a little bit of a different shape, something a little bit taller than the other objects. And then you might also want to find something that you can put everything on top of, like a piece of cloth, a napkin, or a bandana. So that's what we need for our still life setup. Now for our drawing materials. So for our drawing, you'll need a piece of paper and really any kind of drawing utensil. So you could use a marker, a couple different size markers. You could use a crayon. You could use colored pencils, or you could also just use a regular pencil. And then another additional option, if you'd like, is you could make your own drawing board. This is nice for doing a still life. Sometimes it allows you to hold your paper kind of up in front of you and look at your paper and look at the still life rather than looking down at your table and having to look up at the still life. So if you would like to make your own drawing board, you can find just a piece of cardboard. And if you have a binder clip, you can use that at the top to hold your paper in place. And there you've got your very own drawing board. All right, let's get started. So our first step is to set up your still life arrangement. And you're going to want to find a spot that is next to a light source. And it's going to look especially nice if the light is coming from the side. So if you're able to set up near a window or even find a lamp to shine on your still life, that will look especially nice. It will give you some great shadows and highlights that will be fun to draw. So you can see I put my napkin down first, and then I arranged the other objects on top. I put some objects in front of the other, so the apple's in front of the bottle, and I have a variety of different sizes and shapes. So all those things make my arrangement interesting to draw. And your setup is going to look a little bit different than mine, depending on what you choose and what arrangement you find interesting, and that is totally okay. Okay, we are ready to begin our drawing. I have mine on an easel so you can see, but you definitely do not need an easel. Your paper on the table or on your own drawing board is just fine. So our first step is to just take a moment to look at your arrangement and make some observations, some notes in your head about what you see, what shapes you see, which objects are behind other ones. And you can also squint your eyes and notice where the really dark areas are, the shadows, and where the really bright highlights are. Okay, so to begin, I'm just going to lightly sketch in the shapes of the objects, my pencil. And there are a couple different ways that you could hold your pencil. You could hold it like you would if you're writing, or if you want a looser grip, you could hold it like a drumstick, like this. Here's what it looks like if we're holding it like this. You can also hold it like a paintbrush. So those are a couple of different options, and you can decide which one you feel most comfortable with or which one gives
you the drawing style that you like best. I am beginning by lightly sketching the basic shapes of the objects. As I draw, I am also noticing how the objects are positioned next to each other.
Sketch where I blocked in my basic shapes, and now I'm going to go back and add some of those shadows, and I'm going to show you a couple of techniques that you can use for filling in those shadowy areas. One of them would be to draw lots of little lines next to each other like this. We could also do something that's kind of similar, but we'll do lots of little lines going one direction and then another set of lines over top going the other direction, and that's called cross hatching. Another way of shading is doing a bunch of little squiggly lines like this called scumbling, overlapping these circle squiggly lines. And then another way would be to hold your pencil a little bit looser, that drumstick grip I talked about earlier, and rubbing the side of the lead, just doing some shading like that. So those are just a couple of different ways that you could use to fill in those shaded areas. So I'm going to continue to build up my drawing from here and add some shadows. And if you would like to, you could also add some color. That would be really fun with crayons or colored pencils or markers. Thank you so much for joining me for this activity. This is a great way to continue to practice your skills with drawing, and I hope you enjoy.